Case number 172. Herbert Redford, Fayette Township, Iowa, August 29th, 2020. 4:14 p.m. The patient is like all the others. We don't understand what is happening. It is insanity. I'd normally be documenting this according to protocol, but fuck protocol. An entire county doesn't suddenly start dying all at once. I was scared to even come, but they assured me it wasn't a plague or a virus. Though the extremely secretive lockdown was in full force, as I arrived in the military caravan, I shouldn't be using official catalogs to note my thoughts like this. But something clicked when I met Herbert today for the first time. His hair was falling out, and he was experiencing shaking and agonizing pain. I feel I may be in danger, and these reports might serve as some kind of record. Mr. Herbert Redford Jr. appears to be showing early signs of extreme radiation poisoning. I decided to move him out of the hospital to make room for patients who have a higher chance of survival. But nobody has mentioned radiation to me yet. It gives me chills as we are right near the Duane Arnold Nuclear Energy Center. What the fuck happened there? This was just one example of the records she had sent me from Iowa. I will list a few more for posterity, just so you might get some sense of direness of what is currently unfolding. Case number 2076. Jamie L. Heathrow, Fayette Township, Iowa, August 29th, 2020, 5:38 p.m. Patient exhibits no likelihood of recovery. Genetic damage is certainly extensive. She's frightened, but I have a lot to do, and so I told her I would come visit her when I'm able. She has a few days to live at best, but within a few hours, she will be in pain that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I never believed in euthanism. I thought life should always be given a chance. We were given a brief seminar on radiation poisoning a few hours ago to prepare us for what to expect in most of the patients. Oh my fucking god. Case number 30815. Donald Thomason, Fayette Township, Iowa, August 29th, 2020. 8:41 p.m. The trucks never seem to end. I know I'm not the only one who has stopped cataloging the patients according to our requirements. There are just too many. The power plant must have melted down. I just know it, but they say it has not. They showed us a Geiger counter to prove that it was safe, but how can I know if they are even trustworthy? I just used this case log to vent before venturing back out into the complete shitstorm that is unfolding around me. Fuck this. I want to get the hell out of here so badly. Fuck 2020. Case number 33726. William Davis, Fayetteville Township, Iowa, August 29th, 2020, 9:34 p.m. Patient exhibited convulsions for hours, and moments ago slipped into a coma. I've had him transferred to the exterior ward to make room for more patients. He will certainly be dead within 10 hours or so. Any additional aid would be better served on other patients. Many of my colleagues left a couple hours ago. They think there was a meltdown at the nuclear power station. I can understand their fear, but these people need our help. Having to choose to let a person die because we don't have enough manpower is a decision I never thought I'd have to make. I won't lie. I want to run, but if it really is a meltdown, I am dead already anyways. Case number 45182. Sam Wilson, Fayette Township, Iowa, August 29th, 2020, 10:08 p.m. Patient is starting to show the first signs of poisoning. It seems to manifest in some patients faster than others, but within the last few hours, almost everyone in the county seems to be showing up. She asked me if she was going to die. I told her yes. She started to cry. I will be honest, I'm crying too. I was going to leave, but she's already dying. How much time do I have? The best I can do is try to help whoever I can. We're all in this together now. Case number 45182. Franklin Peterson, Fayette Township, Iowa, August 29th, 2020, 11:17 p.m. I don't even bother with the formalities anymore. He was one of the hundreds of people I have just frankly told are going to die in the next day or two. I told Franklin rather frankly. Jesus. I was sent these logs by an old friend and colleague back in the States less than a day ago. They might provide some insight into what to expect. They were highly classified transcripts in theory, but she said that the secret wasn't going to remain so much longer. The scale of the incident was just too great. She believed getting the word out was more important than secrecy or her career, especially if there had been a meltdown at the power station. These kinds of tragedies happen, and I hadn't immediately thought too much of it, beyond hoping my friend was alright. After all, we had our Chernobyl here, and Japan had their Fukushima. If there was radiation belching from the plant, she would certainly be well within harm's way, and I worried for her. That was just half a day ago now, and I had not been prepared for what I learned just a few hours later, when Putin himself called everyone in the department to an impromptu meeting to discuss an international incident. I had met with him a few times, and he was always confident, but I could see that he had a strange look in his eyes this time. I'll admit I was never a fan of his. I know he is a petty tyrant. He poisoned political rivals and carried a macho man stereotype as part of his masquerade. But I don't think I had ever seen the look I now saw in him. The confidence was gone. He was shaken. He was clearly frightened of something. I am terrified to admit it, but my friend in Iowa was both right and wrong. This information does need to be shared, hence why I'm now telling you all of this so earnestly. But it wasn't a meltdown at a power station. In the last 2 hours, I think we have pieced together what is going on. Maybe by the time you have read this, you will have already seen this in the news. But in hopes that you are someone who may still able to benefit from this knowledge, I have decided to share it as well. I will probably be dragged into a back alley and shot for doing it, but honestly, that may be a blessing in disguise for me at this point. I'm a director at Rosneft. For you Westerners, this is a Russian nuclear regulatory agency, and I have access to some of the most secretive information relating to nuclear power and nuclear weapons in the country. I just got out of a meeting with colleagues, and I am absolutely in shock. The reports from the United States were horrifying, as were similar ones from India, China, France, etc. But it wasn't until General Gerasimov told us about the observations they had made over the last day that the gravity of the situation really sank in for me. To be fair, I still don't know for sure what is happening, so treat this as a speculation. It is, but we have a few things I think we can safely call facts at this point. Over the last 2 days and half days, the staff and nearby populations surrounding almost every nuclear power plant and missile site on the planet have suddenly exhibited symptoms of mass radiation poisoning. The fact that they have managed to keep this under wraps worldwide is a testament to humanity's willingness to cow to authority, because many people know about this now. I suspect everyone will know within the next day or so. I think the fact that you and I are already dead is the only reason nobody has bothered to leak this yet. I know it is silly. I don't have any reason to do this, but I feel like it is a point of respect to give you the chance to know what is about to happen to you. If you do not want to know, I would stop reading now. Over the last 5 days, brief flashes have occurred over nearly every major military and nuclear installation around the world. Casualties are expected to be nearly 100% for those in the affected areas. We were not given any information about what the possible causes were, but radiation exposure was at far beyond lethal levels. The general went on to give us the real news though. Over the last 24 hours or so, Flashes have occurred over almost every city on the planet. According to our best experts, we have all been exposed. The first flash lasted exactly 0.1 seconds here in Moscow and inundated the city with an unthinkably vast amount of gamma ray radiation. And apparently, there have been 5 in the last 4 hours. Everyone in the room would almost certainly be dead within the next few days. I'm not an idiot. I'm a doctor in both medicine and in particle physics. I taught at Lomonosov as a professor. I know what gamma ray bursts are. I know what radiation poisoning does to a body. If you're living in a major or even minor urban area, you're likely already dead. Within the next 72 to 130 hours or so, you will begin to develop what will start as mild symptoms, but will eventually develop into far, far, far more severe ones. You will likely start to hear about this in the media soon, as the sheer scale of the initial casualties at the nuclear sites is too much to keep hidden for long. So I don't think I am doing any treason by telling you all of this now. If you live in the countryside, you may be okay for now, but I really don't know. The sheer scale of radiation burst is unfathomable. Stay away from urban areas. I don't have much hope for you, but at least you may be spared the agonizing death that awaits most of us. I cornered the general after the meeting and quite literally strong-armed him into telling me what was actually happening here. He admitted he had no idea, but that he planned to just return home and spend the last few days with his family. That was when I realized I was fucked. Completely and utterly fucked. Here was a great and commanding Russian officer beginning to sob, pinned against a wall by me, of all people, but he had nothing to say to me. He was so completely convinced of his own hopeless situation, after having spent nearly an hour in a room with some of the best radiologists in Russia, that he didn't even care anymore. Sometimes it is odd how fear of death puts us all on an equal level, for no amount of wealth or power grants any privilege in death. I let him go. He didn't seem to have much will to resist anyways. I realized he had been doing his best to keep a calm demeanor when he had explained to us all that we were certainly all going to die soon. And he was just a person like me, looking for answers to incalculable questions, wondering how and why we were dealt the cards we were. I did some research about an hour ago. I stole his security clearance fob from him while he was pinned against the wall. I'm now in his office, reviewing the materials he had access to. It seems we have known about them for some time. Nobody knows how many stars they have deemed, but almost every year, another one disappears. It is unlikely they were consumed or died. I read the reports and it wouldn't make any sense. I don't know how a star goes dark. Maybe it was Dyson's sphere, or maybe a light of the supernova just hasn't reached us yet, though even that would seem inexplicable. What I do know, though, is that I saw them just 40 minutes ago while looking out the window of his office, a small and strange thing moving through the air at odd angles and changing directions in an instant. I heard the loud noise of fighters as they buzzed to intercept it, which is what caused me to look out the window to begin with. But it whizzed around, not seeming to have any particular destination, changing momentum in bizarre 90-degree angles in fractions of a second, and then it emitted a flash. It wasn't super bright, but I knew what it was. You barely have even noticed it if you didn't know what you were looking at. If I had any hope of survival at all, it was completely gone at that point. I sit here at the general's computer and write this to you, because you deserve to know. This is not war. A war would imply fighting, resistance, some vague hope of victory. We are already dead. This is extermination. I don't know what they are or why they decided that we needed to die, but within the next few days almost all of us will. As the gamma radiation exposure tears us apart, I recommend you put your last day or so into doing things you never got around to. This is why I felt the need to share this with you. I can't stop what is happening. All we can do is cherish the short time we have left. Live like you never lived before. Love like you never loved before. You have just a few more days, maybe less. Make them count.